Hey everybody, this is Jonathan again, a Game Master's Soapbox. Thank you for joining me for today. We've got a lot of things to cover today, and just like yesterday's program, I'm going to try to put between 8 and 10 minutes into each of these categories. In particular, when we get to the fourth one, 1 minute rant, I will be timing myself for a 1 minute rant in particular, and then I'll spend the next 9 minutes kind of going over it and explaining what triggered the rant. All right, so today the first thing we're going to talk about is our open Twitch RPG experiment. Now, I know many of you that are watching this are on the D&D channel and are used to watching 3 to 4 hour episodes of roleplay sessions. And today what I wanted to introduce to you is a different concept, and that is I will be opening up a channel program. I'll start it similar to this one, but it'll have different headers and such. And I will be intending to tell a roleplay game story, hopefully with you as attendees watching, participating in it by helping to administer and control the characters of the story. Initially, I anticipate between 4 and 6 players, but I do make this kind of an open challenge. I have run roleplay games for even larger groups, and I would love to be able to interact with you and run the game with as many as, who knows, 6, 8, 10, 16. The largest direct roleplay session that I've run successfully for a 4-hour window, and I got positive responses from everybody playing, was 17 players. But that was actually in an environment where I was dealing with them verbally, and in this case we'll be operating with your answers coming in text. So anticipate theoretically I could handle even larger numbers based on that. I don't know. We'll have to see whether that's the case or not. But I do want you to know that I'm going to be starting that. We're going to do those on Saturday mornings, Pacific time. Anticipating to be a 10 o'clock start time, but it might be a little bit later than that. But 10 o'clock in the morning next Saturday, which is, I don't even know, my calendar's not it, but today is, I believe, Sunday, so 1 week from yesterday. The second, the Open Twitch experiment will be a roleplay session. It will be in utilizing the NycosRPG system. The character sheets are available at NycosRPG.com, www.NycosRPG.com, which is my website. You can go there to get your character sheets. They are not yet fillable in terms of forms, so you'll have to download the form and create the character. Later on today, we'll be talking about quantum dice and how conflicts are resolved in it, and how that quantum dice mechanism is a change in the way people play. So to familiarize yourself with it, I'd recommend you take some look at the NycosRPG website. There is available for you for purchase the PDF version of the NycosRPG first volume, which is Dark Shards. That's specifically the fantasy setting, and in particular, it's got the rather extensive rules on how to create magical effects in the game so that your characters don't have, well, you'll find out so much more about it, but just know that the open experiment will start Saturday around 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll be covering a plethora of pieces, if you will, this Saturday, so consider this to be fundamentally the upcoming Saturday to be the session 0. And of course that will be recorded so that the data that comes out of that session will be available to anybody to participate, to get a feel for how to build a character and such like. We will be doing, I anticipate, today is, as I said, I believe Sunday, I don't even know. Yes, today's Sunday. So Wednesday morning, we'll be doing that open roleplay game session 0 precursor. So we'll be actually going over the NycosRPG mechanism, how to build a character and such like. So make sure you catch up with me on Wednesday for that. We'll be doing, by the way, the Soapbox every day. I'm going to anticipate doing so at 11 p.m. each night. It'll give me time to get back from my live games. I do currently 2 live games a week. And when we get a little bit later in the show and get closer to the Q&A, I'll be able to give you additional information on what particular is needed to get a character put together in advance, and also to let you know about that. Now, the game sessions that I run live are at the store of our sponsor. This is the logo over here in the bottom is Board Game Paradise. It is the best role-play game system. The best game store in the local area here, Redlands and San Bernardino, that kind of area of Southern California. But they do take care of online orders and such, so definitely get a hold of them. Make sure that you mention Game Master J, Jonathan Albin, when you talk to them, and they've got a special deal I worked out with them. The other thing about the Open Twitch experiment is that because I'll be operating with players online, my players who are members of my Patreon program will be able to jump on the line with me actively utilizing Discord, and therefore they'll have a front row seat, and there'll also be voices that you may hear beyond mine during that experiment, but those will be people who have sponsored me or participated with me in terms of my Patreon, and therefore are given special privilege. So if you want to be involved with that and get to know more, you can definitely check out my Patreon, which is patreon.com/NycosRPG, just Nykos, just the word Nykos. Nykos, by the way, is the name of the fictional homeworld, if you will, for the role-play games that I've developed. And the fictional setting is set on, the fantasy setting in particular is set on the world of Nykos. So there's a lot of information out there. If you put a search out there for NycosRPG, and Jonathan Albin, you'll be able to find anything you need on that. And additional information is available through direct contact with me or the other videos that I've done that you'll be able to see on YouTube. This program will be also, although I'm recording it on Twitch right now, it will be also broadcast on YouTube as well in the next few hours once we get it done. We've got a few more minutes yet coming up on the end of this specific portion. So let me go into the rest of the experiment. The way the experiment will work is I want to see if we can do role play in an environment where the player input is put in by the viewers of the show, not necessarily just characters who have arranged to be on the show visually. I'm not going to be necessarily therefore having a group of characters, but if I do, I've got the capability right here in this block of area where you see the text would be where I would be able to put up maps, images, and such to help enhance the role play experience. Now, if you notice, every once in a while I'll look up and look at you in the eye or whatever, and that's because my camera is above my line of fire. So please forgive me for looking, out into the audience directly, other than looking into the camera like this, only because of where it's positioned. So that's a technical detail I probably didn't need to share, but you'll find I'm pretty open book when it comes to things like this. Now, the other thing about the Twitch RPG experiment is that it will have references to role-play mechanisms you may be familiar with, but it will also include the NycosRPG mechanisms that resolve conflict much more quickly. So therefore, fight scenes and action sequences don't take the long dribbled time that you might think of in terms of the rambling of a traditional role-play game. And so I'll go into more detail on the Wednesday